after the UCF loss, and we talked about just, the need for us to stay together and kind of break apart or stay together. I know that Gio said that bye week, as crazy as it was actually good for y'all. We felt like the team really came together. I don't know if we've had a chance to talk to you about that, but from your perspective, how's the team really come together since that Clemson loss? What does that actually look like?
Yeah, I think we've had a lot of adversity throughout the year, whether that's on the field or maybe some stuff off the field. I think it's only brought us closer together. The team has solely been focused on whatever we need to do to win, and so that's performing in practice and preparing off the field for the games on Saturdays or Fridays this week. And so we're really not listening to any of the noise. If anything, it's like you said, it's bringing us closer together. And I think we've seen that on the field, especially from the defensive side of the ball the past couple of weeks.
AJ?
Well, have you seen the defensive front grow? Go back to TCU, guys give up some big runs. Haven't really given up many big runs since then. How have those guys grown as far as how they deal with blockers, gap discipline and all that kind of stuff, making things a little bit easier for the second level?
Yeah, I think that unit is playing as one right now. They're playing selfless. All those guys in the front are making plays, but they're making plays that are their plays to make, and they're not trying to jump out of gaps and make tackles. They're really setting the edge. So setting the edge of the defense has been big. Guys like Melcart, Tyler Thompson, Smith, doing a great job. We have great interior defensive linemen, but they're playing as one unit right now. It's really making my job as a DB and the linebackers' jobs a lot easier to fit the run.
We hear all the time, other programs, previous staffs here, you hear gap discipline, just general discipline all the time at defensive front. Are you saying that that's kind of one of the keys, that they become very disciplined up there?
100%. Yeah, the discipline up front has been very evident in the past couple of weeks, and it's an area that we want to continue to improve.
Thanks.
Great.
Hey, well, on Twitter, your mom posted a picture of you and your teammates locking shoulders during the two-point conversion. Just given everything that's happened, throughout the last month, what can you say about this team's resiliency and also their constant improvement? Because the last two games, those are games where everyone felt like you guys could have won.
Yeah, definitely. The past couple of weeks, two tough losses where you play well in areas and other areas you're just not making the plays you need to make at the end of the games. And so, if anything, I think it's encouraging for us seeing the improvement we're making week to week. That picture you just mentioned, just a sign of how close we are even through the struggles. The team is not pulling apart at all, and so if anything, we're getting closer. And so, looking forward to this week. I think it's going to be a great week, a short week too, but one that we sort of dealt with a couple of short weeks this year, and so I think we're prepared.
And how have the leaders in the locker room, including yourself, work to maintain and also elevate the competitive edge throughout the season?
Yeah, I mean, just showing up day in, day out and for the practices and bringing that competitive edge. Most practices, it's offense versus defense going at it, and you don't want to lose that competitive edge when you get late in the season. Bodies start to wear down. You still want to be able to, show up to practice, play physical, and that's what we do each and every day.
Ron?
Well, I think it was after a punt return, Coach Belichick giving you a pretty hard time there on the sideline. As a captain, what are those dynamics like with him, and how are those captains' meetings throughout the weeks with him?
Yeah, I mean, I think being able to take criticism whenever you make mistakes is really important, and just understanding that, you're not going to be perfect, listening to what any coach has to say to you, and then correcting it and moving forward and not taking anything personally is very important as a player. But again, being a captain and being a part of those captains' meetings is awesome each and every week. Being able to talk scheme with Coach Belichick, really, almost one-on-one, and give any ideas that we need to make or any changes we need to make throughout the week. So those captain meetings are really important, and I think they've done really good for the team.
Yeah. How have those messages changed in the captains' meetings with how close y'all been to a breakthrough in these last 2 weeks?
I think the message from Coach Belichick is just keeping the positivity and encouragement throughout the locker room and trying to get an idea of how guys feel. And so as a captain, I think we've got to continue to uplift people and be positive and just correct the negatives, but you can't just look at the negative. We're improving a lot, and I think it's going to start showing on the scoreboard this weekend.
Right?
Just two quick ones. How did that scene on the sideline sort of come together? Was that sort of just spontaneous? You guys all locking arms like that?
Yeah, I mean, it was when we went for two, so a moment that was sort of defining the game, and got a lot of guys in our teeth. Our team have had a strong faith, and so I think it's some guys were praying, some guys were, even if you're not, religious, you're probably praying in that sense. So we were just sort of bonded together and just watching and hoping for that moment. Obviously, it didn't turn out the way we wanted to, but another sign of sort of our team sticking together.
And then we talked about Madrid Tucker with Coach Belichick. You've seen guys on this roster sort of come from Miller, Juju. I don't know, there may be a guy or two on defense as well. What is it about the way that the program is structured that you didn't see a guy come from? I think Juju started 6th on the depth chart. Madrid hadn't played a single game this year, has 8 catches. Is there something about the way practice is structured or the way guys kind of get a chance to show up?
Yeah, guys are always getting a chance in practice, whether they're first string or 4th on the depth chart. They're getting reps, whether that's in individual or in team settings. Guys are not just, if they're not starting, they're not just not getting reps throughout the year. And so it's been really important and it's been impressive. A guy like Madrid to show up, really hadn't played all year and get 8 catches. I was very impressed with him, but you'd seen it in practice each and every week. And so it's been cool to see guys step up. We've got a lot of guys stepping up on defense. I think, a guy like Greg Smith, a younger guy, he's starting to step up and be a crucial role on 3rd down for us. And so when you start to build that depth, especially at this point in the season, it's really important to your success.
Is that slightly different than the teams you've been on in the past? If a guy was 6th or 7th on the depth chart, probably wasn't getting a ton of opportunity.
And I would just say Coach Belichick does a great job with everybody on the team, giving them chances in practice to continue to improve throughout the year.
Adam?
Will, I was wondering what you've made of the 2 fumbles on the goal line, the one at Cal by Nate and then the one by Kobe. I know they're different circumstances, but it's kind of mind-blowing for them to have back-to-back weeks like that. And just your thoughts on it, and do you think that those sort of speak to how close you all have been to getting over the hump and getting it?
Yeah, obviously pretty unfortunate events, especially back-to-back weeks. As a defensive guy, you got to be ready to go out in the field no matter what. And so, we had a chance against Cal to get a stop and get the ball back to our offense, and we weren't successful. Then again this week against Virginia, went back out on the field and got a stop. And so, whenever we get on the field, it doesn't matter how we got there or where the ball is, we're ready to go and make a stop. But again, yeah, it speaks to how close we are. We talk about ball security every day, and we practice a ton of drills on it each and every week. And so I think the guys on the offensive side of the ball are taking pride in that moving forward and keeping the ball tucked. I mean, you even see Kobe Pacer had a chance sort of later in the game to maybe stretch out and score, and just very disciplined from him. So that's even within the game, making that improvement and adjustment. It's pretty mature from him.
Is it kind of nuts, though? I mean, you played a lot of football in your life. I mean, have you ever seen,
Yeah.
I don't know, back-to-back games like this where it's like happen?
I haven't been part of it. And honestly, when I was watching the replay of Kobe, didn't even think of that as an option. I was ready for a touchdown or first and goal from the 1 yard line. And so just sort of unfortunate. And that's an area that, our offense and anybody that has the ball, me as a punt returner, have to take pride in holding on the ball. Yes, sir.
Well, we were talking with Ship after the Virginia game. He said, wish we could go out there and play Syracuse tomorrow. That ability, that sort of mental ability to, bounce back just minutes after a pretty heartbreaking loss. Where do you think that sort of mental toughness comes from, and how can you develop that as an athlete?
Yeah, I mean, I think, if you're not competitive as an athlete, then you probably shouldn't be playing the sport, especially in a game like football. It's 11 guys in the field, 22 guys in the field, but it's really 11 one-on-one battles each and every play. So if you don't take pride in winning your one-on-one battle and being competitive in that scenario, then you won't have success. So a guy like Schiff, man, even when he doesn't get the ball, he's trying to beat the DB one-on-one. And the guy like me, if they don't throw it to my man, I'm still trying to defend the guy. And so it's winning your one-on-one battle and taking pride in that. And eventually those add up, and the team with the most, I would say, individual wins usually wins the game.
Jeremiah?
Yeah, well, I know earlier you talked about the defensive line specifically and how their improvements kind of help the DBs, the linebackers. But as a collective unit, last 2 weeks, if you look at points per game for the yards given up, looks like a different unit now than it was kind of the first part of the season. What do you think in particular has kind of allowed you guys as a defensive group to not only, I guess, statistically, but even just in execution, kind of make improvements in that stuff?
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, it's just discipline. It's focus and doing your job. The scheme we have, I really trust Coach Steve Belichick's scheme and with the positions he puts us in. I think everyone on the team does too. And then secondly, it's trusting your teammates and trusting that they're going to do their job and then they can trust you that you're going to do your job and not try to make plays that aren't your plays to make. And so I've seen that sort of area, those two areas of our defense grow the past 2 weeks, and it's shown on the field.
When it comes to the secondary in particular, obviously, last couple games, you guys haven't had that. I guess from a Coach Gaines' perspective, it hasn't necessarily made a huge, impact or whatever. What do you think is kind of allowing you guys to kind of fill in the gaps there, even despite him not being out there?
Yeah, I think it's a credit to guys staying ready to go. Jaden Patterson is a player that predominantly played safety for us and was a safety on our team, and sort of got some reps at corner early this year. And then when Thad got hurt, he stepped into that role and done a fantastic job as a young player. But still, credit to Thad, even though he's not on the field, he's being a huge leader off the field. That's during the week. That's in games. He's leading those guys, and so Thad's doing as much as he can to get back on the field right now. But he's also doing a lot to help those young guys play.
And last one for Shelly.
Just really quickly, sorry, I hate to end on this one, but I was curious, just with I think it was, I forget what point, but the Marcus Allen's tackle. I think it was Charles Harris, then he was able to go into it. So just what do you see from your perspective on that play and maybe what worked out there?
Yeah, I think that possession specifically, they were doing a lot of no huddle, which is an area that we practiced a lot last week. Virginia was a great no huddle team, and Syracuse would do the same. And so, anytime a team goes no huddle, you're going to get your fundamentals are going to break down a little if you're fatigued. And so I think that was an area. Marcus was in great position and just he must have been just tired, and it didn't finish the play, but. We need more guys running the ball, especially when there's a no huddle situation like that. But again, it's an area we continue to work on each and every week.
There seemed like there was confusion before the snap on that play. The defense was kind of running around pointing. Was there some confusion before that snap?
Yeah, I don't know what everyone was doing. There may have been a sub that was trying to occur, but I think we need to do a better job moving forward in no huddle situations of just staying ready to go and locked on our mans.
Perfect. Good stuff.
Appreciate it, Will.
Yeah,
Thanks, man.
appreciate it.